Hi Capricorn, I'm Jenny Fitterer and welcome to your January Tarotscope, and happy birthday to you with your birthdays in January. So I have a single card for the month of January. The first two-thirds is of course Capricorn season, and then we will be moving into Aquarius towards the end of the month. So the card that I have for you is the World reversed. So this is the way the card looks the right way up. So we've got this kind of bleak kind of red room, and we've got this kind of window that almost looks like there's either bars in front of it. There's this kind of dark face, and then in front we have these nude women, and they've got this rope or chain kind of around their necks to whatever is back here, and it came out upside down like that. Okay, so I'm going to go to the giant book and see what the world has to say for you this month. Okay, here we go, Capricorn. The World. Resolution of contradictions. This card is linked to the image of the chariot. The frame at the center of the composition is reused as a motif indicative of a kind of cage. Furthermore, the World also refers to the content of the Devil card, the vampire or boogeyman, and the prodigal son as symbols of the taboos that can be rediscovered in the big black being, which is imprisoned and seems to be weeping. This card seems to convey the pessimistic message that evil always puts the righteous in chains and will eventually triumph. But an alternative reading is possible. The three graces, and with them faith, love, and hope, will help the world to advance. On long leashes, they pull up this dark and fiery creature from the depths of the earth to emerge at the surface. Humanity has not just descended from heaven to earth like angels, but is also a product of a long evolution. On every level of our development as humans, we are called upon to deal with our heritage. Although we never cease to discover dangerous traits in ourselves and others, we also constantly discover new, hitherto unknown areas of growth. In a positive sense, the ropes or chains represent our dependency on time and space. Our individual existence is bound to the existence of all others. We have inherited the earth from our parents and merely borrowed it from our children. We should not jeopardize this inheritance. Practical advice. It is your task and your strength to step forward and show yourself. The way you live in this world determines what the world is in a reciprocal relationship. Use your time on earth wisely and enjoy your stay here. Okay, Capricorn. This is quite a card in general, and it's kind of an interesting one for kind of your birthday season as well. One of the archetypes of Capricorn is responsibility and integrity, and being kind of in the role of provider, looking for the long-term health and benefit of the community, sort of for the next 7 generations to come. So there's a very large degree of community care and responsibility that Capricorn is usually involved in. So that may be very true for you. It's also generally true of this season, is where we start to think, okay, we just had a lot of fun in Sagittarius season, and now we're really thinking, okay, do we have enough of a support structure? What are our roots? Do we have enough resources, not just for me and my goals, but for the well-being of my community, not just now, but also in the future? And this card, it's really, really talking about the longevity as, we can think of this in our lives, our ancestors and our descendants, our community, and our sort of legacy. But we are part of, all of us, a little link, each of us, in this chain of the history of humankind. And all of us as beings on this planet we are part of, what we have inherited from our ancestors and what we are doing in this world to leave it for our children. All in this very, very large kind of sense of responsibility, where we as individuals do not bear sole responsibility for the entire arc of the humanity, not for everything our ancestors have done or everything our children will do, but we are each a part of that chain. And that's the interesting kind of idea of a chain, wherein no one link is the whole piece, but even a single link breaking makes the whole thing weaker. So it's that interesting kind of paradox that we have, where you are not the sole thing, which could actually really help lots of Capricorns. You might feel like the whole weight on your shoulders, the whole thing is me, I have to be responsible for everything. And that's not true. And it is. You are a link of responsibility for everything. You are not the sole rope or chain for everything. So it's this yes and no, this kind of interesting paradox, which is anybody that passes the buck in this line of our whole heritage and ancestry as we move through the world. Anybody that passes the buck is kind of causing some troubles for everybody else because they're just causing more work to be done. And yet, every little gift that you can give and every little bit that you can do helps and magnifies for everybody. So hopefully that's kind of both an impressing upon you the value of that which you do, and that's which we all do in this journey of integrity, while also taking off some of that pressure to feel like it's all on you, and that if you fail, we all fail. No, if you fail or if you don't do as well as you want, there'll be somebody else to help. So that's sort of some of the energy of this card. There's the other sense too, which, you know, it sort of says at the beginning, it could feel like, oh, the righteous are in chains and they're not going to be able to do things because of this concept of evil. But if you really think of the card, these, other than the little bit of a rope around their necks, these guys are the ones that are free. They're out, they've got this open space. It's whatever this kind of our dark taboos, our fears, that kind of heaviness and darkness, that's the thing that's boxed up. It takes up way less space. It's not happy, and it's kind of in this area of being kind of chained up or behind bars. So there's this sense actually that it is not that we are imprisoned by evil. It's in fact, we have a lot of freedom, and we have this responsibility to somehow rescue from this sort of sense of captivity, whatever it is that we carry in our souls, in our genome, in our heritage, that causes this destruction and mayhem. It's not the sense that if this guy gets out, he's going to wreak havoc and destroy everything, so we have to hold him back. It's this whole thing of whatever is trapped in here, if it can be rescued, it transforms and is no longer the monster that we perceive it to be. And it's being brought along with us and rescued along the way. So instead of this fear of our past, or this fear of our inner darkness, or this fear of whatever sense of taboos that we have, or right or wrong, that we don't want to look at, that we want to run away from, or we want to compress and suppress, it's this, that's what needs to be rescued. That's what's holding us back, is this fear of this darkness. We certainly can't let it run amok. We do have to behave in integrity so that the well-being of us and our descendants and the planet is taken care of. But it's more our being chained to that dark past and that darkness that causes that sort of issue, rather than it itself, and that, you know, we just have to hide from it. So, and we certainly do have, generally speaking, in our culture, certainly in the Western world, this kind of hangover of the duality of good and evil as being two separate beings that are always trying to kill each other, that evil's going to destroy light and goodness has to then triumph over evil, and this total opposites that have to be fighting so that one hopefully doesn't kill the other. That's sort of an idea that I'm hoping that we end up moving away from, so that we don't have that kind of constant warfare idea, and instead this idea of that which is actually dark, or we sense that is dark, has this I can feel I'm going to go on a tangent here. So I'm just going to actually close off because I don't need to go into the duality of good and evil at this point. So we're just going to come back to the card here and the world and you, Capricorn, this month. So the first 2/3 of this month, Capricorn, is, you know, this is a great time for you. It's a year review for a lot of you. Either you just had your birthdays or you're having your birthday. So you can really be thinking, okay, what's my place? What's my place in this chain of the world? And not just how do I have to save it, but also who am I next to? Like who else am I with here? I'm not alone. And what are like the kind of links that I'm linked to that we together, you know, it's kind of this pod, a link is always linked to something else. So what's your community? What are you guys going to do together? How can you kind of strengthen this foundation to be able to move forward and bear that responsibility, which is truly also the noble work that we have to do here, and be able to do it in community and realize that you're not alone. So that this Capricorn season is a really great time to really, yes, look into your own individual goals and where you're at, where your foundations are, but recognize that you are not in isolation. There are others that are with you, doing the work with you, and that if you need a time to rest, they can, you know, kind of team it. When they rest, you work. When you work, they rest, and kind of be in community that way instead of being in isolation. And then we move on into Aquarius season. And Aquarius actually is an interesting card for this one too, because Aquarius is all about breaking free and wanting to say, I don't want these confines. I really want to rebel. I want to have this space and energy and openness. And sometimes Aquarius energy can be a kind of that selfish rebel where it just says, I want to break free and kind of F you guys and I don't really care what's going on. But really, Aquarius, what they're really all about is I need to rescue myself so that then I can turn back and help others be rescued. So it also is part of this integrity and being in community and saying, I'm not just doing what I want because it's good for me. It's I'm doing what I want because it's my gift and my desire and my calling, so that I can turn back and be able to present that to the community, especially if a lot of people are scared to move if they haven't seen somebody do it first. Aquarius can be this time of moving forward where nobody has gone before, which then allows other people to be bold and step kind of in the path that you've shown them. So there might be sort of this sense, and towards the second or towards the last 2/3 of the month, of this like, where am I need to break free from? But remembering that you're breaking free from constraints, not breaking free from your entire community, and that is just an opportunity for everybody to achieve freedom, rather than just kind of you on your own. So that's the card. That's what's coming up for you this month, Capricorn. If you did want any additional assistance or more understanding of some of the planetary transits that are happening this month, the Capricorn Pay What You Can season forecast is up and available on the YouTube channel. All donations are very much appreciated, and so that'll just be a little bit of extra support for you. Other than that, happy birthday and many blessings to you, and I will see you next month. Take care, Capricorn.